on these vehicles is actually an additional tuning element to increase the MDS operating range. So that the removal of the valve doesn't mean that, you know, MDS drone is going to be very present now. We've had to accommodate with a slightly different fly zone to keep, you know, everybody happy inside the driver's seat. So.
Will there be other color combinations for the interior other than the white stripes?
Right now, the white stripe is the direction we're pursuing forward. It's a good mix of a contrasting color for the seat, and that also goes with all of the exterior colors.
I think people are excited to get to Plum crazy.
Yeah.
So people are going crazy.
Let's move over here, guys. I mean, literally, the Charger looks awesome. This car, in my opinion, might steal the show here. I mean, the Plum Crazy, I think we'll all admit, I mean, as Mopar fanatics, is just a great color. But even more important on this car is the introduction of the core model for Challenger. So we kind of spoke about, you know, the formula and, you know, why we went the route with the Charger, and now we're just bringing that formula and that equation down to Challenger and 300. So a few of the specific things on Challenger that we'll talk about is, again, it's the cast wheel. All of the core vehicles have the same cast wheel. The black anodized calipers, the removal of the active suspension, all common between Charger. In the front of the vehicle, we've again removed HID headlamps, and we've also removed the satin finish paint from the center bezel. It's now a flat black color. And there's a few reasons for that that I'll get into at the very end. Other exterior differences on the vehicle are no available moonroof option, and the return of the famous flat black spoiler from the previous 6.1 liter Challenger SRTs. On the interior of the vehicle, again, we've moved to a cloth interior. The cloth interior in Challenger and 300 has ballistic inserts and an axle cloth bolster in both the door trim panel and the seat. The ballistic cloth was brought to us from the Viper Core model, which we'll be learning about, you know, more as time goes on. And it's a very tacky cloth. You know, the reason we put the performance suede inserts in the vehicle is because it gives you that grip that you need when you're moving the car. The ballistic cloth, trust me, has got the same level of grip, and again, the bolsters didn't change. This is SRT seat foam wrapped in cloth, but it saves a significant amount of money. Again, elimination of heated seats, and some base car trim bezels inside the vehicle, which reduce the variable cost as compared to the Challenger SRT8. What I'll go back to now is the flat black grille surround, flat black spoiler, and then also the flat black 392 badge on the car. What we really wanted to focus on this vehicle is creating an open canvas for all of our customers to start out with. Customers that want some of the extra frills of the car, you know, they have the SRT8 392 option. This vehicle is a starting spot for all of our customers to start with the vehicle and then add what you guys want onto the car. You know, whether it's a Mopar part or any other aftermarket part, we're kind of giving you this blank slate to go do whatever you want with it. And we think that's really important. So that's really, you know, what I had to speak about on the Challenger. One last thing though, actually, you know, you'll notice right here, and this is a big key point, this vehicle now starts under $40,000. I think that's a big deal. $40,000 is kind of a, you know, a borderline for a lot of consumers, and this car now starts underneath that threshold. So that being said, I'll open the floor up to any questions specific to the Challenger, and then we'll move on to the 300. Yeah.
Is that concept kind of based more on maybe there was a lesser expensive starter? Not to throw a bench seat in.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, again, the idea when we did the Charger Super B, you know, we wanted to create a unique price class that again focused on the performance. These vehicles all have the 392 Hemi, they all have the SRT brake, they all conform still to the SRT 5 pillars, but we've taken and removed any of the feature comforts that we could and still be in compliance. You know, certain things would actually add more cost, but we wanted to focus on being in compliance and remove as much cost as we could to create this blank canvas.
You can add it in eventually.
If that's what you want.
Cost.
That's right. Yep. Yep.
leather still like an option?
Leather is no longer an option. So these vehicles it is a unique price class. It is a unique model for the SRT lineup. So you can't start with a core model and actually option your way up into the SRT premium content. They're two different vehicles with two uniquely different option sets. We do limit the options available on the core models for that exact reason. Any other questions, guys? 300? Let's go over there. All right, guys. The last car in the lineup here is the 300 SRT8. Maybe some would think it's the most sleeper, cruiser, more executive than Charger, Challenger. But with the core model, we wanted to pump up the aggressiveness a little bit. So the first thing that you're going to notice on this car is the addition of the 6.4 liter badge. We really want people that drive this car, we want everybody else on the road to know what they're dealing with now. And that's why we put the 6.4 liter badge on this vehicle. The vehicle, again, it follows the same formula. The 300, though, generally starts with the most amount of standard equipment versus the other two vehicles. So a lot of that equipment, we've taken it off. There are, and we'll step through that equipment, but there is still the delta. There is still the difference between a 300 and the Charger Super B. The 300 is still, the more premium vehicle, with more options, and we wanted to keep that separation there for you guys. But with that said, we still wanted to create this open canvas, this starting spot, so you can do anything that you want with this car. You can make it as gentlemanly as you want or as aggressive as you want. So on 300 core, similar formula. We remove HID headlamps. It actually is the 300S halogen headlamp, which is a darker finish, so it still has that sinister SRT look. Also on the front end of the vehicle, we've removed the fog lamps. The fog lamps removal of the fog lamps don't prevent us from complying to any regulations, and it's a weight savings and a cost savings, so we removed them from the vehicle. They could be added back on, but we wanted to leave that up to the consumer, not up to us. Again, the core cast wheel. Standard on the vehicle is the same black anodized calipers, but on 300 we wanted to give you guys a little bit of an option. So red calipers are optional content, which is why we're showing them on this vehicle here. And in my opinion, it looks pretty cool. It accents the 6.4 liter badge quite well. Active suspension removed again. With a slightly revised, it's a passive suspension that's identical in hardware to the Charger and the Challenger, but just a slightly more gentlemanly ride. So again, it still performs on the street, it still performs amazing on the racetrack, but it just has a slightly different ride for the differentiation in the vehicle. Other things that we've removed from the vehicle: rain sensing headlamps, rain sensing wipers, automatic headlamp leveling system, door sill appliques, universal garage door, power column, power pedals, heated cup holders. A lot of the frills, again, do you need any of those parts that I just named to go faster on the racetrack? Absolutely not. So we wanted to take and remove those from the car. Just like the Challenger, we've got ballistic cloth interior with the axle bolsters. Again, you'll notice the stitching is very similar to what you see on our leather counterparts, and that's because it's the same foam that we use. It's still an SRT seat with the removed heat and cool, aspects of it. Standard on 300 is the 8.4-inch radio, but without nav. You can option up to nav on this model for the customer. So again, there's a little bit of differentiation there, versus the Charger. You can option to a moonroof on this vehicle. We did open that up on Charger, on 300, just for a little bit of differentiation. Also on the rear of this vehicle, you'll notice the red SRT8 chiclet badge. Just kind of, again, highlighting this isn't the same 300 that we've all been used to for the last year and a half, 2 years. This is a much more aggressive version of the vehicle with that open canvas, so you can do anything that you want with it. So with that said, I will talk pricing on this one too. So again, we've talked pricing, $3,000 less than SRT on Charger, $4,000 or $5,000 less on Challenger, $4,000 cheaper here too. So this vehicle right here is starting under $45,000. So you still have a lot of the standard 300 creature comforts that you would get in a base car, but with the added SRT performance at a very economical price. So, any questions specific to the 300?
I didn't see inside. Are there paddle shifters available?
Paddle shifters are standard on the 300. Yep.
Is this the 8-speed?
These are 5-speed variants.
Are the RSAs the standard tire for these now?
RSA is the standard tire on actually all of the LSRT line. The F1 3-season tire is optional, and that still remains the same.
Especially the white.
Right. Well, I think we're going to head toward the bike lane.
Thanks very much, guys. I
you.
really
To talk about desserts. So you guys got to go through the other SRT products and get to talk about Viper. One person that, when Ralph did the intros, that was over staring at the yellow Viper was Scott Kruger. Scott's actually the guy who penned this car. He actually drew it. So good job, Scott. So I wanted to introduce Scott. But yeah, I'll go over a few key points of the car, and then we can open it up to questions as well. With every SRT product, of course, they have to function first. So with the Viper, obviously it's a 206-mile-an-hour car. So obviously we had to spend a lot of time in the wind tunnel with the car and developing it. But so it had to function first, but we also wanted to make it beautiful. And when we set out to do it, we didn't want to reinvent what the car was. The car is an icon. It's very recognizable. We wanted to get back to those roots of the car. I refer to them as these washable surfaces, something that you want to touch. I owned a 98 for a while, and I used to love washing it in my driveway and drying it. There was something kind of heroic about opening the front end of the car up and cleaning everything off on it. So we went back to the clamshell hood on the car as well. So really, just it's an emotional car. And along those emotional terms, we did want to say it's great to be able to talk to everyone. It's great to have the Chicagoland clubs here and to have the relationship that we have with our customers. That's the one thing that I love about being a part of the SRT team, is that we are so close, and I think we all kind of we get each other and we feed off of each other. So it's great to be able to talk to everyone here today. It makes what we do that much more enjoyable. But like I say, everything was functional on the car. Like subtle flicks like this actually help direct the air so that we exhaust heat from outside of the engine. So every little detail on the car we sweat over. We call these air curtains. They actually help downforce on the car. The textures in the hood. If you notice the snake, it's actually a snakeskin pattern, and it repeats itself in the gill. We call this the gill. It's in there, and actually in the tail lamp, you see that same texture again. So that attention to detail that is in the car, just as you study the car, you'll see these things, because we thought about everything, every little detail, everything that somebody